This is a perfect time to talk about the fears that haunt our finances. Yeah, from debt dread to market panic, fear can paralyze us or it can push us to act smarter. So here with us in studio right now with some tips on how to turn those financial fears into strengths is Mark Ting. Mark, of course, is our guide to personal finance, and he's also a partner with Foundation Wealth. Hello there.
Hi.
Favorite Halloween candy?
Same as you. Reese's. Yeah, absolutely. And I hated the Tootsie Rolls. Couldn't stand them.
Yeah, Tootsie Rolls. No, I don't like those at all either. I'm with you. Okay, let's talk about some typical financial habits that scare you and hinder Canadians, I guess, from reaching their financial goals.
So I'll talk about two. So the first one is fees when it comes to banking. I do not understand why anybody pays for banking. Most people just need somewhere to deposit their checks and e-transfer. You can do that for free regardless of your balance. So I know people who spend over $20 on monthly on banking.
Oh dear.
You don't need to. The other one, and this is the one that almost all the financial columnists talk about, and it's the car payment. The average car payment for Canadians like $900 to $1,000 for a new car, and it lasts for 5 to 7 years. $1,000 is a huge impediment to all your other goals. We're paying off debt, saving for retirement, and when things go bad, that payment's still there on a depreciating asset. So if you can, buy a car with cash, or if you have to finance it, shorter amortization as possible, and just get an older car. They're still great. They're still safe.
Okay, but you mentioned the bank fees. You say don't do it. How do you get out of it?
Yeah, there's virtual banks. Simply's one. There's a whole bunch of them. Like my kids, as soon as they hit 20, they get their free banking goes away and they have to pay. I made them change right away. Some credit unions will have lower amounts of money that you can put in there, so you get free banking. Like instead of $6,000 or $7,000, which some banks do, it's like $1,500.
Yeah, it does add up for a lot of people, those fees. Like you're saying, this gets kind of silly. Well, and as baby boomers age, Mark, I mean, estate planning, this is becoming increasingly important as well. So what mistakes from this generation can spook you the most?
Yeah, so baby boomers are getting older. They're dealing with things like dementia. And the one thing that a lot of them do not have, and really should, is the will and power of attorney. Like about 50% of all Canadians, adult Canadians, don't have this, but it's especially important for them. So if you don't have that, get one. Like they're not very expensive. They used to be like thousands of dollars, but now you can get them with the help of AI for like under $100. Now, if you do have a complex scenario, like you own businesses or you have multiple like modern family type of a situation, by all means, get a proper estate lawyer. You'll save a lot more on taxes by doing that than the fee that's upfront. The other one that I see is I see a lot of people being the bank of mom and dad when really they shouldn't. Likely we're going to live a lot longer. We're going to need more money. So trying to be generous, I get it. You love your kids, but you're not doing them a favor if you run out of money when you're in your 80s. So do it if you can afford it, but do the math first. Don't make that decision based on love or because you often feel guilty because you were able to buy a house and now your kids aren't.
No, that's a very good point. But from a personal finance perspective then, are there fears out there that you think maybe are overblown?
Yeah, lots of them. Fear, volatility, completely overblown. You should embrace fear and volatility. Most people think that volatility is a bug, something that you don't want. But no, volatility is a feature of higher returns. If you don't want volatility, I can get you returns, but they're going to be like 1%, 2%, 3%. But the way the world is going, you need like 8%, 9%, 10%. So don't be afraid of fear. When you see the headlines and they freak you out, the thing I do nowadays with ChatGPT, I'll just take those headlines and I'll throw it in there and say, hey, how accurate is this? And it'll break down all the context and mostly the headlines from politicians or academics that really want us to click on them. And it'll just give you the context and you're like, oh, okay, that's not as bad as it sounds. And then you move on. And if you look at a lot of fear going and markets are crashing, you should be enjoying that because that's when you get the best deals, particularly if you're young, and that's where you get paid the biggest dividends.
Well, you're in an interesting position, but so are a lot of other people in terms of being in the sandwich generation, right? You've got aging parents and children who have recently graduated from high school. So what haunts you at night?
So I'm pretty fortunate with my parents because I did a lot of work with them before. So they got all that estate planning stuff settled. Now, if you yourself have not done your estate planning, we're talking the wills and power of attorneys, do that first and then check with your parents. And if they don't tell you, insist on it, because if it becomes a mess, when they do pass, you're going to be dealing with those issues. On the other side, we got my kids, 18, 20, they're in sort of that university age. The problem that I have is I think that the world is going to be very different in 5 years. Like, we're going to have a completely different economy. So what do I tell them to study now? Because by the time they graduate, I want to make sure that they got good use of their education. So I think certain things are no-brainers, like going into trades is like perfect. Like, AI is not going to disrupt that. It's going to add to it. Because
and there are government incentives right now for that kind of thing too?
Mostly electricians, because we're going to have to rebuild the grid. So all that stuff totally makes sense, but my kids are not interested in that. And my kids are, I don't think they're on the AI train. Like, I would love it if they were studying this. Like, it's so easy to start businesses, do things. There's something called vibe coding, where you can basically just come up with an idea to solve a problem, and you just talk to it, and it will create an app for you. Like, it's that easy now. You just got to be creative. So I don't think the thing that worries me is my kids are not jumping on this train. And I think the train's going that way. And I think they really should be getting on this sooner. But, what do I know?
Yeah, so get someone else to tell them, then they'll listen.
Likely.
They'll listen. Well, what are some other strategies, Mark, that can turn our fears into assets?
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of a Seinfeld bit where he said, he was referring us as a study about what causes the most fear in society. And it wasn't death. We don't fear death. Number one was public speaking. So if you attend a funeral, according to this survey, most people would rather be in the casket than give the eulogy. So when I heard that kind of makes sense to me, because I hear all people are so afraid about public speaking, putting themselves out there. And I really think again, this new economy that we're going to be dealing with, connections are going to be super important, and you're going to need to put yourself out there. I just spent the last 2 days in Toronto at a conference because there's only 20 of us, and I was talking to some of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world. And it blew my mind that I was actually in this room. And arguably, I was the stupid person in that room. I'm not an extrovert. I'm introverted, but I was not going to let this opportunity pass me by. They're telling stories, and I had a million questions. So, the past Mark of a couple of years ago would have never said anything. I'm sitting in the corner, I'm flying the wall, I'm letting other people talk. But I'm like, no, I'm going to take this opportunity. I asked every single one of them a question. Now, I went through my mind because I had 100 of them, and I purposely chose a question that I was very interested in, but I thought the whole audience, and there's only 20 of us, would also be interested in. And I asked it, and they answered it, and it was great. Now, one of those things is, A, I did it, me not being introverted. I asked these questions. B, when it came out after the fact, when we're sort of talking, mingling, it was the perfect opportunity for people to come up to me and talk to me. Because the worst part about networking is that stupid small talk at the beginning. But because I asked these questions, I sort of gave context, people sort of knew what I was like. We could talk and have natural, organic conversations. So I think that aspect of what we can do, it took me forever, long time to practice this, but I think people need to get themselves out there. You don't have to fly to Toronto. I'm talking about go to a party, go to a networking thing, go for coffee. Just get out of the room, start meeting people. It's going to be more and more important.
Well, I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear you say you're an introvert. I mean, you're on the radio every week with us here, and you bring such great information and that seems to me that you feel very comfortable doing that. Is that just, it's a smaller environment, smaller venue, that kind of thing?
Well, I like educating people. I love teaching. I love volunteering. But, at a party, I love my group of friends, but when I venture out there, I get uncomfortable just like anybody else.
Okay, Mark, good to see you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoy Halloween, and I hope you get some peanut butter cups.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, that's Mark Ting, our guide to personal finance and a partner at Foundation Wealth.